Hello, everybody. Welcome to your own university's classroom. And today we are doing a class with Rustie MacDonald. She has been on our Wow You show on YouTube, and she has written multiple books. She has an incredible podcast herself. And we're having a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're going to make the most of it.
So, this is the authenticity that's coming out of this pandemic, and I absolutely love it. I host a international podcast as well as a vlog on YouTube. And when these things happen, I find it very, very important to be transparent. All right, so time is of the essence. Basically, my name is Rustie MacDonald. I'm a full-time single mom. I have lived in severe poverty to living in my car. I mean, that's not severe. I could be living under a bridge, but and in the last 6 years, I've written 13 books. I have 250,000 international fans on my podcast, and I have taught all over the world, as well as spoken all over the world about domestic violence and getting through the storm, and the emotionality of what it means to be surviving and thriving after trauma. And what's really fun about this is I've always done brick and mortar classes. Now we can see why. This is my first mastermind. And Alicia and I were talking about what would be really exciting for everybody to delve into during this time period where we have a lot of quiet time and we have the ability to do something different, to reinvent ourselves, to excite ourselves, to put our souls on fire and get really good with what we've always wanted to do. And so we were talking about goals and dreams. And one thing that I find extremely, extremely common with all of us, including myself, is that we set these huge dreams and they fizzle out because we don't set the right kind of goals. That's kind of the bottom line of it. And how do we do that? And I think dreamers should dream. I'm a huge dreamer, squirrel, but I get overwhelmed. And I overwhelm myself because it gets bigger and bigger and more fantastical and more exciting. And I never implement the steps, right? So when I began to break everything down, I'm very visual. I'm an artist. And so it had to be very visual as to the steps. And literally, I broke out my daughter's coloring book and I cut out feet and I photocopied feet. Literal steps. Okay, so my big dream was to publish one book. 13 books later. I spent the majority of my education either abused severely, at home, recovering from the bruises or the broken noses or whatever, missing a lot of school because we moved every 6 to 8 months due to our poverty. Not a judgment, just was the reality of the time. And educationally, every English teacher I ever had told me not to even bother, that I was horrible. And how do you fantasize and dream about writing a book when everybody told you not to, much less 13 books, right? So it started out with, I'm going to journal. And from the journaling, I started making chapters. From the chapters, I got really, really excited because I had my first chapter ever. But again, it's breaking it down. I call it the module effect. You break it down into little pieces that you can chew on. Because if you look at the big picture, I don't know if I can move this. If you look at the big picture, I don't know, I can't scroll.
No, do you want me to? You're going to have to tell me when to scroll.
Yes, darling.
And I'm going to put it to the page as best as I can, you guys, so it's with you, but just cue me and I will scroll. But I'm going to mute myself so there's no background noise over here either, just in case.
So this was the very first time I actually had a book, like an author's night, and I cried. Go ahead. So you can go back. We'll send this all to you guys, and I apologize for the technology issues. If you go down the next slide. This is everything that I've done. SW, it's Southern Australia. It's a women's magazine about betterment of self for women specifically. And the article Shine On was my first magazine article. I was a semifinalist for Funky Thinkers. So for those of you who watch the game show, it was freaking awesome. And I'll be going out to England when we're allowed to do another show on gondolas. Scroll down. These are all the books that I've published. The blue one, Truth About Poverty, will be out this December. I can't release it yet because of court. So here's a little girl who severely abused, severely neglected, abandoned twice, shot, living on the streets, cancer 3 times, and this is what I was able to accomplish. But it took a really long time for me to get, scroll down, a lot of strength and stamina to accomplish all of those things. And there's a lot more, but I couldn't fit it on the slide. Scroll down. The biggest thing is when you are creating your dream, you have to be able to flow in the process. So how many of you guys have gone down a river in a tube or even a canoe? I know Jennifer has. It's really that ease. We tend to get into a fear-based place where all we do is think that we can't. We listen to the old voices that tell us we can't. All of that stuff comes up at bubbles. And we really need to relax because there's no hurry in this. That's the beautiful thing. We always think that there's a time limit or time frame or a clock, but there's not. Scroll down, please. So on your piece of paper, you know, what is your vision? What do you really, really want to accomplish? I know Jennifer and I have been working together on her goal. Thank you, Michelle. And so we're really breaking down her goal because her goal was huge. She had at least 20 years worth of work. And I love the bigger picture. So now what she's doing is she's going and she's breaking it down. She has a dream, she wrote down her vision, and now we're gonna get excited and make it happen, right? Scroll down. All right, so I don't know how many people have ever watched my show or know me personally that are paying attention, but if you've ever gone into my car or into the pockets of my pants or my bed, I have index cards everywhere. So I replaced the feet that I used 6 years ago when I began my journey of self-recreation, and I found that it was a lot easier to carry index cards everywhere. And some people think that's strange, but whenever I get really excited about an idea, I have an epiphany, I hear something, see something, I write it down on my index card. Scroll down. I also have 20 or 30 journals, which Lisha can definitely testify because she's like that too. And every journal in every room has a purpose. So that's a bigger picture, kind of like a mental thing that you just pour out of you. But the index cards are hugely impactful because there's something tangible. You can actually hold one index card with one quote, one idea, one color, and that's tangible. You can accomplish that. And when you get really good at utilizing the index cards, which I call the modular effect or personal papers, you can actually get a little clip and put them in an organized fashion where you can set your goals, or for me, chapters of books. Chapter 1, this is what I want in chapter 1. Chapter 2, this is what I want in chapter 2. And make it one sentence each and every index card. And it sounds like a lot of paper, but it's the best way to accomplish a larger goal. You have to break it down into tiny little bits that you can chew on because you don't want to get overwhelmed. Scroll. That's it, exactly right. Laser focus. So for those of you who know me, I absolutely, I'm totally and completely in love with my bed. And I love my satin sheets. And I love the fact that on either side of my bed, I have these huge windows. And every morning I get to watch the sun rise. And when the sun rises, it actually brings shape to the shadows. I have lizards and turtles and birds galore. I live in Jurassic Park. What's beautiful about that is I can constantly dream. I can constantly create. I can constantly believe that this world is beautiful because that's all I see and that's all I pay attention to. I believe that you guys can do the same thing. You just have to make an effort. And that effort is to take your big picture and break it down one page at a time. Scroll. So here we are. This is the first really large step. You have your big picture. And like I said, squirrel, what is your 5-year plan? For me, originally 6 years ago, when I started this, 6 years ago, my 5-year plan was to have 1 book published and to speak at local high schools. So in that 6-year time period, I've written 13 books. I've been interviewed on TV and radio more than 400 times on an international level. I did have a huge speaking gig this summer, but that's kind of gone out the water. But that's in 6 years. What can you do in a 5-year plan that's going to blow up your world? And it's really amazing when you break it down: 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, 1 month, 12 months, 6 months, 1 week, 1 day. And you get down to that real linear piece where you can get down to, what am I going to do today? Because it's setting things in motion for tomorrow. In 1 day, after I published my first co-authored book, I had 13 different offers because of that book. That blew up my world. My 5-year plan turned out to be a 3-year plan. And wouldn't that be exciting if you could make your dreams come true like that? It's staying optimistic. It's staying focused. It's definitely laser focused. Michelle, you were absolutely right on that. And it's breaking things down and giving yourself a break. Ignore what people say, because the worst enemies you're going to have are the people closest to you. It's not that they don't love you. It's not that they don't care for you, but they're going to be the most critical. They're going to be the ones that are going to be the naysayers in your group. So keep your thing quiet. Only go to the people that you know will help raise you up. And that's how you get to have 13 books and a million other crazy things happen. Scroll down, please. I'm actually leaving in 2 weeks to go to Charlotte, North Carolina to tape a mini TV series about the truth about poverty. Pretty amazing. Me, of all people, I couldn't believe I was even asked. So what do you get out of this? Really, absolutely dream as big as you can dream. The sky is the limit. The universe is infinity. It is huge. Dream as hard and as big and as wonderful and as tasty as you want. Then break it down. The module effect, it is such a lifesaver, and it keeps you on focus. It keeps you on task, and there are more things that come at you every goal that you reach, and then it becomes habit. So everything that you do in your life, you're going to do in a modular way. And it's amazing what you can accomplish. It blows my mind every day to look at all of the things that I do, and I'm never, in the big dream, yeah. But I also float in space and smoke cigars, and I win every poker tournament. That's my big dream. But in reality, there's a lot of work in between. And so the module effect is huge. It saved my life, I swear. If I didn't learn how to break things down very small and chewable, I would not be where I am today. The very third most important thing, once you've got all of your cards down, once you have breathed, you're meditating, you have a good, healthy routine, you're on a social media diet, you're not engaging with those people who have to argue about everything like oranges and mangoes. Get into gratitude. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. The power of association was a huge key for me. But also being grateful for what I had. I think when you raise your mental, spiritual, and emotional level to a higher level, where you're not engaging in drama, where you're not engaging in TV shows, where you're not engaging in being completely lackadaisy and you're doing a lot of self-care, your goals are easier to manage because you're not stressing yourself out with all that other noisy stuff. What I do it out of passion, and it's more and more exciting every time something gets accomplished. And the second thing that I do outside of gratitude, I also look for skills. I constantly research. I'm constantly reading books on self-help, healing, theta, beta, quantum physics, constantly listening to talk shows so that I can better my radio show. So it's constantly filling my life up with the stuff that I need to be a better version of me so that I can be a better version for you. Scroll. This is the biggest roadblock you are ever going to have in your entire life. I'm sure Alicia could agree with me. I'm sure Jennifer, Michelle, all y'all can agree that this is the largest roadblock. Coming from trauma, there's a wound that's always kind of achy, right? You're always feeling like you're stupid or you're fat or you're dumb or all these things from childhood. And when it comes to a place of feeling like you could be successful, you revert back into those negative thoughts, and it's perfectly normal. Everybody does it. It's getting out of that and saying, okay, whew, fear was a part of my life, especially the fear of change. Sometimes it's scary to change. Some people don't even like to move out of their house that they've lived in their whole life. You gotta jump, you gotta leap, and you've gotta know that forward motion, forward moving, forward thinking, expanding, these are all beautiful things, unless it's your waist, just saying. But expanding your mind allows you to build a bigger dream that has more layers to it, so that when you fulfill that dream, you're actually giving to your community, giving to your children, giving to your family, giving to your friends, something way more valuable than you ever imagined could be created, because you've expanded and you've got faith in yourself. Scroll down, please. A little bit, yeah, there we go. All right. So what is the best part about dreaming? Okay, we were all kids once. I grew up with boys, so I have a lot of scars from, building crazy ramps here in Florida and like skinning every part of my body on the asphalt and being bitten by scorpions and snakes because, well, I live in the tropics. And I just got into everything. I was curious, very curious. I was so curious that when I was about 3 years old, I took a butter knife to the speaker. Now, this is back in the 70s, late 70s, and those speakers were big. Now, I took a butter knife to the speaker and unscrewed it to find the gnomes that were singing. I swear, I got my ass beat, but I'll tell you, that level of curiosity, that level of pretend is what gets you success in the end. So if you can channel back to that time period where everything was good, everything was free, you could wear your cool dress and swirl around with the fairies, blowing on your, dandelion, pretending that you're a queen or a princess or Joan of Arc or whatever. That's how you get into this. You dream really hard, you dream really good, and you visualize. You smell it, you taste it, you get excited about it. Your body starts vibrating like you're getting ready to go to Disney for the first time or ride a roller coaster. That kind of excitement. That's where you want to get with your dream. So pretend, pretend, pretend. Lay in bed before you get out of bed. Go to your happy place. Go to the place where you really set your soul on fire. Feel it, smell it, touch it, taste it. Know what the carpet looks like if you have carpet. Know what the room looks like that you're going to work in. Imagine that. Now, the biggest and hardest part for humans, especially now, time. We always make excuses that we don't have time. Well, I challenge everyone out there to get a little app for your phone. That app will tell you what you're doing with your time, at least part of it anyway. And I guarantee if you take out shower, if you take out eating, and you take out your bathroom time, and you take out 6 to 8 hours of sleep, take that out of your 24-hour day, I can guarantee you can find about 5 hours in your day where you're doing nothing that's special or important. You're either busying yourself in somebody else's business, you're watching way too much TV, you're not doing anything good for your mind, body, and soul, laying around, driving around, putzing around. That 5 hours could actually be used to build your 5, 3, and 1 year plan. When you get those 3 plans done, you can look at your 1 year plan and say, what am I going to do Monday through Friday in that 5-hour period of time that I have extra? And I'm a single mom. And if I can find it, anybody can find it. What can I do with that 5-hour extra to build up towards my 5-year plan, my final goal? What can I do? Can I read a book? Can I watch something that's actually valuable to my brain? Can I listen to a radio show that's actually going to, give me insight? Can I build something, create something? What is it that I can do in that time period to put more forward motion, more forward movement into the action piece of my 5-year plan? Again, back to training. Always spend your extra time training when you can. Scroll down. I love this. This was so much fun to make. And I'm a vision board person, so I have stuff like this all over the house. It's quite funny with little index cards. I'm not a mess, I promise. It's not a messy house, but it is busy. So the habits, these are the main habits to help you prosper. We talked about a little bit about it. Invest in yourself, do some training, watch less TV, get up early. When you go to conferences or you go to these events, if you sign up and stay with your own university, highly recommend, because there's a lot of master teachers out here. Be the first to show up and the last to leave. Be the one that asks questions. Like Michelle, she's been great. She keeps sending little chat boxes because she's really engaged. She is ready to do it. She is ready to get going. Get up early. I was up at 2:30 this morning. You know what I did? I planned another 17 radio interviews. I mapped out some marketing stuff, and boom, here we are. I'm teaching a master class. I'm so excited. Why? Because this is what I want to do. This is my dream. And if you can hear the excitement in my voice, I want you to feel that too, because it's like an orgasm. It's just awesome. So be the last to leave. If you want better, you got to do better. You got to be better. Know where you're headed. Every step of the way, know where you're going. And the biggest thing, believe in yourself. I believe in you, because if I can get all of this done in 6 years, whew, girl, you got this hands down. Trust me. And if you need me, you know where to find me, because I am absolutely 100% supportive of anything that's not a time waster, that you've written down your goals, that you're actually moving forward. And if you get stuck, everybody gets stuck, reach out. Totally be here for you. Scroll down. All right, so hopefully you're at a place where you're like, where do I start? The cool part about this whole idea is it's modular. Once you write down your bigger dream, essay, paragraph, do a vision board of your big, big dream, you start anywhere. Start at the bottom, start at the top, start at the center. Anywhere that you can do. And my big thing, and here's the big thing, 80% of what you do physically is all think. You're just thinking. Your brain just keeps going and going and going. 80% of this whole situation is thinking. 20% is actually implementing those thoughts. So you really can look at the bigger picture once you break it down in modular form, and you can say, all right, that's easy, that's easy, that's easy. I'll do this, 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 and this, and this. And I don't know how to do that, so I'm going to find somebody who can help me with this. And I'm going to find somebody who can help me with that. And God, I don't even know where to begin there. What is that going to look like? So utilize your resource, educate yourself, empower yourself, break things down, and be agile. For any of you out there who run, you have to be agile, right? I love running mountains, which I don't get down here in Florida. So when I go up to New England in the summer, I get to run up the mountains. And you have to have agility. You have to be able to bend and move with the flow. Stuff's gonna happen, like today. Look, it took us, what, 20 minutes to get on because technology just was not our friend. But that's life, and that's what makes life authentic. And what's even better about that, lesson learned for me, I should have been on here half an hour early just to avoid that time period. So I learned something today, and that is a huge value. I'm not mad or ashamed or feeling guilty or any of that. I'm over that, but I learned, and I get to implement that the next time. So blow your mind. Blow your mind. I know you can do this. 80% is thinking, 20% is doing. And take all the easy stuff and slam dunk it, smash it, get it done. All the easy stuff, all your marketing, your wording, your mission statement, your basic business plan, your outline. That you can get done in a night. Boom, smashed. Now it's getting into the fine tuning. Scroll. So this is where I ask you if you have any questions, because we're at that place. I want to thank Your Own University for partnering with me for this quick mastermind. And this is where you get to pick my brain, because that's what I'm here for. So anybody have any questions for me?
Hey, Rusty.
Hi.
Hi. So awesome thing. This was a great program. I am very happy that you did it. You did an amazing job. Despite the issues or whatever, it all happened. And I'm super excited about that. I think that one thing that has been my problem is really wanting and needing accountability and support, just because throughout life there has been no support. So if a roadblock happens, I kind of have allowed that to stop. And I think having somebody that's accountable, like you have been with me, or that holds me accountable, I should say, I think that that really helps. And I feel that a lot of people are afraid to ask for that, just because sometimes they feel that they are going to get turned away. Because again, there's that negative mindset or whatever, or they're just not used to it, or they're fearful or embarrassed, or, you know, all of those negatives that shouldn't be there. So knowing that, what would you recommend for people to go out and find themselves an accountability partner, or somebody to help throw ideas off of, or whatever?
All right, so there's 3 components to that, and you know me well enough because I've done this to you. There was a time period in which you needed something to be distracted by, and I said, oh, well, I could really use help doing this. And it wasn't actually for me. It was really you doing it for you. I just mentioned that I could really use that help because it was helping you. And you know what I'm talking about. And so there's that accountability friend to friend. You know, you have friends that you can bounce ideas off of and have these conversations with. I think a lot of this stuff you need to keep very close and personal, because again, like I said at the beginning, a lot of people that are close to you are probably going to be naysayers and not as optimistic about your journey. And so pick wisely who you want to bounce things off of. Second thing is, ultimately at the end of the day, you constantly have to be responsible for yourself. And as hard as that sounds, it's reality. You want the stream is going to pay your bills. Netflix isn't paying your bills. The drama over there isn't paying your bills. So every time you get distracted or you feel like, I can do this tomorrow, I literally have my bills taped to my wall. Who's going to pay that bill this week? Okay, I better get to it. So put that in your back of your head. I believe that's the best mantra you can ever have to keep you motivated, is looking at that pain. The pain at the end of the day, at the end of the month, at the beginning of the year, around holidays when you don't have that extra $50 to do something nice for somebody. That's the pain, right? So ultimately the dream that you've created is your income stream, right? So paste your bills on your mirror when you brush your teeth every morning. Oh shoot, I got to pay electric, I got to pay this, I better hustle, I better get on that, right? So ultimately you have to break it down to your responsibility and who's paying your bills. If somebody wants to yap at you and distract you, how much is that time worth hourly for that conversation that's absolutely derailing the time that I need to take to get to my bigger goal? And my favorite is you can hire people like me. And so there's a ton of coaches out there. There are a lot of coaches that are aspiring, that are on a lot lower price bracket than I am. But ultimately, you can hire a coach. Ultimately, there's somebody at church, or you know, maybe you play sports. There's somebody on your sports team that has the coaching ability to keep you accountable. Fourth, there are actually apps that you can download that will ping you and annoy you and remind you of what you need to accomplish. Ultimately, it's your choice as to what makes you feel most comfortable, but there are many choices to keep you moving. And again, it's one step in front of the other. It's one index card at a time. Any other questions? No, actually. Thank you, Michelle, for the question. The question is, would you say everything that you've accomplished were childhood dreams of yours? No. And yes. Interesting. So when I was a little girl, I actually wanted to be an oceanographer. And unfortunately, my stepfather was very clear that I was too stupid in math to be an oceanographer. You needed to have math. And because I was stupid and couldn't grasp simple math, I couldn't do that. And so carrying that wound, I ended up as an art, thank you. My degree is in psychology and art. I double majored. So art therapy was my second goal. And I ended up as a sales manager for a company out of Belgium with color spectrophotometry, I can't even say it anymore, spectrographs, measuring colors for big Heidelberg machines and the like for many years. And so I ended up in technology, believe it or not. But full circle, I'm back to doing what I love to do, which is coaching and helping people and watching them rise to the best version of themselves. And I coached soccer for 13 years. So always going back to coaching, always going back to supporting people and watching them become amazing people. Thank you, Michelle. So yeah, oceanography was really my thing. So believe it or not, I'm going in to get my diving license soon. So maybe I'll still be an oceanographer like Jacques Cousteau. Who knows?
That is awesome. I'm going to come back to these questions because I think we just skipped over them. And we were rushing in the beginning. I know you wanted to catch up on time.
Yeah.
Will you go a little bit deeper, just to kind of wrap it up, into these and the importance of them? Because I feel like they're such gold in getting started and feeling into your vision for this masterclass.
Well, it's really getting really authentic with yourself and peeling off all the nonsense. You know, we all have our stories, we all have our nonsense. And one of the things that I realized is I set my goals to be too high and too wide. And that's why I always found disappointment in myself, because I just couldn't seem to get there. And it took a long time for me to realize that the reason why I couldn't get there is because the goal was too much. Squirrel. And I love how I spelled encouraged. Don't judge me. The third is really beautiful because you can encourage yourself to dream big. even if it seems unrealistic. And I think we have a lot of barriers society-wise and fears that creep up and say, oh, well, I really can't, I can't do that. I don't know. And we put a lot of doubt in that forward motion, which kind of makes slush or mud, so we get stuck. When you get good with what your vision is and you can taste it, smell it, touch it, feel it, see it, own it every morning, this is what gets you out of bed, this is what gets you excited, and you accept that sometimes there's going to be parts that are ugly and hard and difficult and frustrating, and you're not going to get the answers, and you have to be agile, and you have to go around it, and you have to adjust, and you have to replot. That's all part of the journey. You got to keep dreaming, because even the biggest dream in the whole wide world will end up getting even bigger as you build the foundation and all the papers and the pieces. So it's really exciting. My dream was one book. I'm 13 in 6 years. What? I write for a magazine in New Zealand. What? Never in my mind would I ever have thought that they would ask me to write for them. So it's really, really important to believe in yourself and fill your mind, body, and soul with the things that nourish you, that allow you to stay excited about who you are, what you're doing, where you're going, what you're dreaming about. And like Jennifer said, you know, it's nice to have somebody hold me accountable. Well, you have coaches, you have apps, you have yourself, you have your bills. If all of those things, and if you're a mom, like I have a huge accountability. My 14-year-old daughter is going to college in August. Talk about accountability. That's a high bar for a 14-year-old kid. She's great and funny and wonderful and smushy, and I love her. But boom, you know, she's watching. She watches clear and focused. So you got a lot of accountability. It's what you do with it that makes the difference.
Is there anything else that you would like to share with everybody before we hop off, or anybody else wants to share with Rustie?
Michelle had written something. I didn't get to see all of it.
I can't see any of it because I have the screen on.
Yes, girl, keep those dreams alive. And you know what's really fun, Michelle, is one of the things that helped me keep going and keep motivated, because there are times where I'm on the treadmill so angry and frustrated, and I have tears running down my eyes because I just can't get it. Nobody's calling me back about interviews. How am I going to get this book out? I mean, you have those moments. This is your baby, your dream. I would take a shower, honest to truth, here it is. I would take a shower and I'd go get my glitter, and I'd get all prettified, even though I don't go anywhere. I write all the time. I never get to go out. And I put on my makeup, I do my hair, I put on nice clothes, and I put glitter on, and that just raises me back to that level of where I feel like I need to be, which is sparkly and loving and out there and available and put together. And that is huge when you're feeling low. So I'm glad that this kept your dreams alive, and I'm glad that my story helped you. And yeah, it does raise your vibration. So good. Stay happy. Happy is good.